What's going on, Neon Nation, and welcome back. Today I thought I would change up the pace and talk about the top 7 characters returning from the pen and paper source of Cyberpunk 2020, how they've changed in 2077, what's led them to be where they are, as well as some characters that have not been explicitly shown that I would love to see in some capacity in Night City. In no particular order, we first have Ryonobu Arasaka. Ryonobu Arasaka has been showcased in plenty of more recent Cyberpunk footage, and even is an integral component in a pivotal braindance scene featuring Evelyn Parker. In 2020, Ryonobu was being groomed by his father and CEO of Arasaka Corp, Saburo Arasaka, to eventually take over the company. On his 21st birthday, Saburo shared some of the company's deepest and darkest secrets, to which Ryonobu responded with disgust. Running away, he formed a gang called the Steel Dragons, aka the Tokyo Nomads, and vowed to destroy Arasaka. In 2077, however, it seems like Ryonobu has had a change of heart. He now seems to play a pivotal role within Arasaka in Night City, either leading the corporation himself or acting as a proxy for his father Saburo. It's also possible that after years of potential setbacks, Ryonobu has returned to Arasaka in an attempt to destroy the megacorp from the inside out. Only time will tell what his role truly is, what happened to the Steel Dragons, and where in the hierarchy he sits. Next up, we have psychotic Fullborg Atom Smasher. Born from a Russian father and a mother from the South Bronx, Smasher was the leader of his local combat gang in New York during the collapse before the army wiped out his comrades. Smasher, compelled only by bloodlust, signed up for the army shortly after, although he was discharged for insubordination and returned to his hometown to take on various mercenary jobs. An unnamed corporate higher-up ended up getting in contact with Smasher for a heist job, and during the extraction, Smasher was turned to human goo via a warhead. Smasher's brain was recovered, and the corpo, presumably from Arasaka, offered him a full-body conversion for a 15-year employment contract. Adam is most well known for killing Johnny Silverhand in the culmination of the Fourth Corporate War in Arasaka Towers, and has been in constant rivalry with premier solo Morgan Blackhand, with this rivalry reaching its apex at the top of Arasaka Towers in 2023 before its collapse. Adam is still an Arasaka loyalist in 2077. Next up, we have Rogue, seen in 2077 in the Afterlife Bar, whom she is the owner of as one of the most renowned fixers. Rogue and her partner Santiago Aldecaldo were some of the best solos in 2020, who aided Silverhand and Blackhand in the assault on Arasaka Towers to rescue Alt Cunningham. Rogue is an ex of Johnny Silverhand, although it's been a good 50 plus years since they parted. A fixer in 2077, she bridges the gap between mercenaries and contracts as a middleman. Because she is one of the more renowned fixers, you'll likely have to acquire a decent street cred score to obtain jobs from her. She's aged quite gracefully, and all things considered, not much is actually known about Rogue, who shies away from questions regarding 2023 and her past. Next up, we have Carrie Eurodyne, who's seen more prominently in the form of posters and even 2 instances of gameplay segments so far. Eurodyne was on the vocals and lead guitar alongside Johnny Silverhand, and after the splitting of Samurai, went on to a successful solo career. A quintessential and fiery rocker boy with an iconic voice, Eurodyne has created multiple albums, all focusing on some sort of atrocity or injustice in the world at the time. Carrie Eurodyne can be seen in 2077 in this North Oak apartment, and is quite a bit more augmented than before. A new throat cybernetic suggests that Eurodyne is still singing his rebellious tunes to the youth in the hopes to incite change. As an aside, creator of the Cyberpunk TTRPG, Mike Pondsmith, has mentioned that Eurodyne is based on a friend of his. Next up, we have Saburo Arasaka, who took over Arasaka Corporation from his father Sasai in 1960 and expanded the corporation into banking, security, and manufacturing. A member of the Japanese Imperial Navy, Saburo was a skilled pilot in his younger days, but was medically discharged after suffering injuries that left him with vision loss in his left eye, as well as a crippled left arm. Born in 1919, Saburo is still a figurehead in Cyberpunk 2077 at the age of 158, and is still alive likely due to the combination of Cyber and BioWare. It's unclear what his relationship is with Ryonobu, or what his goals are with the prototype chip housing Johnny Silverhand. Moving on to our next character, we have one of the most brilliant netrunners in the Cyberpunk universe, Alt Cunningham. Alt Cunningham, who happens to be the girlfriend of Johnny Silverhand, was best known for developing the Soul Killer program. This deadly construct, initially intended for the transfer of consciousness into digital realms, was weaponized by Arasaka to create digital prisons. Cunningham was kidnapped and forced to develop an alternate version of the Soul Killer for this purpose, which led to the assault on Arasaka Towers by Silverhand in an attempt to rescue her. Silverhand does reach Alt, although an accident ensnares her within the Soul Killer, unbeknownst to Johnny, who carries her lifeless body away. Proactive and resourceful, she escapes into the net after her quote-unquote death, creating a digital ghost town in Hong Kong, housing other victims absorbed by the Soul Killer. In 2077, the player meets with the Voodoo Boys around halfway into the main quest to breach the Black Wall, which has zoned off segments of the old net, destroyed largely through the Rabbids virus, deployed by another legendary netrunner, Rashay Bartmoss. The first AI said to be breaching the wall is Alt Cunningham, although we'll have to play 2077 for ourselves to see what happens next. Silverhand is yet another character returning from the lore in a big way, as he is the centerpiece of the story and has the second most lines in the game. Frontman of Samurai, this rebellious womanizing rocker boy despises Arasaka, obviously because of their involvement in the kidnapping of Alt. A combat veteran who had deserted the corrupt conflicts he was involved in, Silverhand exposed the experimental cybernetics program used by the US and spoke the truths on what was happening behind the scenes through his music. Silverhand was again also involved in the assault on Arasaka Towers. In the detonation of the pocket nuke in the towers, Silverhand was caught in the blast and presumed dead, although his body was never recovered. In 2077, Johnny's consciousness is housed on a chip. It's unclear how he actually got onto the chip, but this will be one of the questions explained in the main questline in 2077. Now you may have noticed Silverhand has brown hair versus the lore where he had blonde hair. There is a reason for this according to CDPR, and it's somehow tied to the immortality chip. We also have two prominent characters that have not been shown yet that would be great to see in some form or another. The first is a solo Morgan Blackhand, arguably the best solo in the world, who worked mainly for Militech. A veteran of the US Army, the street-smart Blackhand was commissioned by Militech to lead a variety of special ops teams, including Strike Team Omega alongside Militech's elite combat Borg unit to support Silverhand and his squad in the raid on Arasaka Towers. This led to an epic duel with rival Atom Smasher, equipped with a Dai Oni battlesuit on top of the towers as it crumbled to the ground. The outcome is unknown, although as mentioned before, we do see Smasher in 2077. Up till this point, we see no indication of Blackhand returning thus far, although Jackie does mention him as a legend that he and V look up to as they enter the Afterlife solo bar. Finally, we have Rashay Bartmoss, the most prolific hacker, single-handedly responsible for the data crash. Creator of the Demon and Hound series of net running programs, Rashay was a paranoid hacker who scrambled the net with his roving autonomous virus, triggered via a dead man switch that activated when he was killed via a mass cannon driver in orbit. This data crash virus infected 78.2% of the net and forced Netwatch to take action. Netwatch failed to clear the net of the virus and thus were forced to erect the wall. We see his Cyberpunk 2077 guide to the net sourcebook on a couple tables in 2077. That is it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and for more Cyberpunk lore, join Neon Nation by subscribing to the Neon Arcade.